One of the things that I noticed about you over the last year is your relationship with your children. And I have to say to you, and I didn't know you before, and you haven't put on a front, your relationship with your children is spectacular.
I love them.
And in fact, it almost makes me weep when I see you with them, because your interaction with them is just so natural, so loving, so caring.
Thank you so much.
And everybody who ever comes into contact with you knows that.
I'm crazy. I would die for them. I mean, I'm crazy about them. And I tell them, I look into their eyes every day. I make sure I do it. I say, look at me. I say, I love you very much. In the eyes.
What they actually say to you is they love you and you say, I love you more. That's what you say every single time.
Say that, right?
That's your phrase, and I've heard it. I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000,000 times.
Yeah, and they say such sweet things sometimes. And I didn't tell them to say it. They say it all the time. Like Prince will come to me and say, Daddy, thank you for giving me a brother. All the time. You know, parents will say that too. Thank you for giving us a brother. You know, and I would like to have more children.
You know what? If he called me tonight and said, let's have 5 more, in a heartbeat.
You would do it again.
In a
if
heartbeat.
he asked you, but...
In a heartbeat.
Now, what could have persuaded one of the world's most reclusive superstars to grant an interviewer and a camera crew entrance into his life? Now, according to Jackson, it was to answer many of the important questions that tabloids and fans have been speculating about for years. As you've seen, not all of those important answers made it on the air. And as for the not-so-earth-shaking ones, well, they were edited out too, like the whereabouts of Mr. Jackson's former constant companion.
Where is Bubbles now?
Bubbles is, he's with a caretaker with like 40 to 50 other chimps, because chimps, they get to an age like teenage kids do, where they want to challenge their parents. Like if your father tells you to do something, you go, why? Why do I have to do it, Dad? And chimps are very much like that too. They'll challenge you, and it can become dangerous in a way, you know. And if they get angry with you and decide to take you on, it's no match. I mean, they're very, very strong. If they can take your finger off, they're very powerful.
But while Bubbles was living at Neverland, Bubbles, the other animals, and Michael were virtually inseparable.
Many people made fun of me with my animals, you know. If I come home from a hard day at the studio and I come home to my deer or my chimps, and I can hug them and they don't ask you anything, they don't complain, you know, they don't gossip. They just want a hug and some love and you get on with it. You know, where's the pizza? Whip out the ice cream. Because the chimps, they love snacks. And, you know, they run around and they help me clean the room and they help me fix up things, you know, and their DNA is literally identical to ours if you look in the microscope. And they're amazing.
Chimps would help you clean the house.
Yeah, they help me clean up my room. They help me dust. They do windows. They flush the toilet after they use the bathroom. And
you let the chimps use your own bathroom?
Sure, yeah, of course. Bubbles would go himself. And he'd sit at the table and he picks up his spoon and his fork and he eats, and he's very polite. And they're very intelligent.
While in Berlin with Jackson, Martin Bashir was invited to accompany Michael and his 2 children on a trip to the zoo. But because someone had evidently tipped off the press, the paparazzi were out in force, causing chaos and a potentially...
Do you know it took us 3.5 hours to get in and out, and we spent 4 minutes in front of the gorillas? It was chaos, Michael.
Yeah, it was chaos. You filmed it, right?
Yeah. I was in the middle of it. Our cameraman fell over.
Yeah.
And at one point, Prince got hurt by someone's umbrella.
Yeah.
Do you really think it was worth the pain of 3.5 hours for 4 minutes in front of the gorillas?
Well, I'm not a foreseer of events. I'm not a soothsayer or a prophet of any kind, but I didn't know that was going to happen like that.
As you've seen and heard from Michael's behind-the-scenes camera of Bashir's interview, Bashir seems to express a genuine concern for the welfare of Michael's children and raises the question as to Michael's apparent lapse of parental judgment.
Bashir comments, "It was no kind of trip for two young children, and everyone could see it, but Jackson himself."
But what Bashir doesn't include is Michael's explanation that Michael was informed that the zoo would be closed during his visit.
I go to the zoo all the time. I go usually when they close it down. And they told us this would be closed down, and they didn't. They left the gates open, and fans and people started pouring in.
But in fact, what the owner said, because I was there, he actually said that his view was, at the end of the normal opening hours, he would have closed the zoo and then just opened it for you and your family. But you decided not to go then. You wanted to go in the day rather than...
That's not true.
Is that not true?
That's not true.
That was what he said.
I wouldn't want to go in the day, especially if I have a problem with the sun.
Well, it was winter in Germany, so it wasn't
nighttime would have been much cooler.
Yeah. But wouldn't it have been better to have gone at night?
Yeah.
So why didn't you?
I never knew that was the proposal. I thought we had a slot and that was it.
This was like just a misunderstanding from the zoo part and, Michael's people, and they thought the zoo was going to be closed, but it wasn't. But that whole thing was not a big deal. I mean, he goes through that all the time.
Coming up, Michael's video cameras capture a very revealing moment.
So they're so quick to call you strange and weird, but it's almost as if you're forced to be different.
Michael's father reacts to Bashir's special.
Well, one of the things I can see this man tried to do, he tried to pin something on me where I was real brutal.
What caused the surgery the other special didn't tell you about?
He was so badly burnt on the top of the whole top of his head caught fire right in front of my eyes.
All when we return to the Michael Jackson interview, the footage you were never meant to see.
Weekend, the Premiership Plus double with...
We'd like to remind you that while Michael Jackson provided much of the footage you are seeing tonight, he has absolutely no editorial control over the content of this program. In the past hour, you've seen a British journalist ask some tough questions.
What hurts you most?
When they lie. The lies. They're complete lies.
And some tougher questions.
You had sex with Debbie.
Yes.
I know that's difficult for me to say because you're so embarrassed.
You're about to hear Michael Jackson's family rally around him, voicing their support.
They can go and talk to these children all they want. They're not going to find anything. What they need to do is leave him alone.
And voicing their disagreement.
I hear Michael saying that he's lonely. But back in those days, Michael had his brothers. He had all his brothers to play with.
You've seen Michael's ex-wife come forward for the first time with expressions of emotion.
I'd never seen that happen. And that's what made it wonderful for me.
And expressions of strength.
I do not leave my children. My children are with their father, where they're supposed to be.
But most of all, you've seen Michael Jackson's own private cameras catch the good.
I think God outdid himself when he created children.
The bad.
If you dangle blanket over a balcony, you are going to be severely criticized.
The strange.
You let the chimps use your own bathroom.
Sure, yeah, of course. Bubbles would go himself.
And the strangely human.
I am Peter Pan.
Are you not your Michael Jackson?
I'm Peter Pan by heart.